Hi family, I hope you're doing amazing today. Welcome in. If you're new to my channel, I'm Lindsay. We are all about self and spiritual development over here and manifestation. And if you are interested in my entrepreneurship resources, you'll find those in the description box below as well as my about section. But with that said, let's go ahead and jump right in. Today's video is going to be all about signs to help you wake up to and identify with your high priest or high priestess blueprint, or even further identify with it if you already resonate with that and still need to dissolve some of that imposter syndrome. That was certainly something that I went through and was a big part of my journey. So this is actually very near and dear to my heart because it really took me a while to actually accept this about myself and really truly bring it in all the way to my core and spiritually as a part of my identity. And it was really because I have taken black sheep to a whole new level. I mean, my whole life, particularly with my family and just really my whole life, even with friends. I have been the black sheep in every room I have ever walked into. And that's actually a great place to start because being the black sheep is one of the most telltale and obvious signs of this blueprint about yourself. And another one is actually all about the laws of the universe, which every high priest and high priestess just kind of has innately in them. And even if they were never really able to understand why, they just kind of operate from that place. So, for example, you might find that you are a little bit more detached than the average person. You might find that you detach from people, places, and things a bit more easily than other people. And this goes back to, again, a universal law. You kind of understand that clinginess and attachment is kind of the root of all suffering. Now, I'm not saying that you haven't had your moments of attachment, because we are here having a human experience, and that is part of the human experience, in my opinion. So I am sure that you've had those moments. I certainly have, but you may resonate with the fact that you have reverted back to a detachment or an ability to move on more quickly than most. And again, that's probably left others confused at times, maybe even yourself at times, but it really goes back to this law of detachment and this universal law and your innate understanding that attachment is the root of all suffering, certainly a major one. And another one that you may identify with is your focus. So even if you have changed direction at different points in your life, I certainly have, you probably notice that your focus is a bit stronger than most, and that when you know what you want, you are laser focused. There really isn't a lot that gets in your way, and you kind of have this almost ick towards distractions even as well. And again, this may have been even mislabeled in your childhood or throughout your life by teachers or family members or what have you. And of course, I'm not a medical professional, so please only and always take what resonates. And I'm speaking from my experience a lot as well. But in my experience, this more has to do with an innate understanding and place of operation of these universal laws of law of attraction as well as law of assumption. So you just have this innate understanding and ability and focus where you really resonate with this energy of knowing that where attention goes, energy flows. And so again, you're just operating from universal law, it's same as the way that, we understand and believe in gravity, or, you don't even have to believe in gravity. It doesn't really matter. We know that that is a very real thing. And so I find that high priests and high priestesses, when they are operating from universal law, they kind of apply this same attitude and belief and operating system when it comes to universal law. So, law of detachment, like I mentioned, law of attraction, law of assumption, and you can really again see it in your ability to detach and also your ability to focus. And again, when you haven't woken up to this or really identified with this blueprint within yourself yet, even though the signs are all there, you probably have even been a mystery to yourself at times and not really understood kind of where these innate abilities came from. And honestly, even when you do wake up to it and do fully identify with it, I find that a high priest or a high priestess is often still a mystery to themselves, which I believe is another sign as well. And so I want to go ahead and move on to the next one, which is that you probably find yourself in a position where you give a lot of advice, but you don't receive a lot of advice. And this comes from your direct connection to source energy. And so it's not a know-it-all thing. Again, it really is important to know that that gets misunderstood. It's not from a place of ego or anything like that. It's almost probably at times you felt like, gosh, I can't even really take credit for this. I've certainly felt that way at times. And it's just that direct connection to source. You're just able to channel advice for others and intuit it. And you probably find that, you don't really ever end up in the position of receiving advice because you just kind of already know what you need to do and know the answers, and nobody can really help you the way that you can help yourself. And it doesn't really seem to be reciprocal. Again, you usually end up being the person giving advice quite a bit, and probably even from a very young age. I think that is absolutely a sign too. You might have felt like you were giving your parents advice at a very young age, even though, you were the child, and it may have even left them confused at times as to where these answers were coming from. But again, it's just that direct connection to source energy. Another sign is that you activate others, and you can do this in many different ways. And even if you are too humble to call it that, or even if, again, that imposter syndrome is still kind of in your way a little bit, you will still resonate with this, with activating others. And so you might do this through your voice. You might do this just through being in the room with your energy and your light. And again, you just kind of know if you are a little bit different in that way. And you just tend to either draw people in some way, shape, or form. And it may be even through a talent of yours. You might even do this through cooking for others, or through music, or any kind of art form, or like I said, even just talking to others. Even your voice is very, very activating, your words, or even if you are an author and you like to write, light. You know, that is a form of activating others through your words. And again, this ability to activate others, again, comes from your direct connection to source energy. And this also brings me to another point, which is that you've probably always been extremely intuitive. Again, this is that direct connection. So probably even as a child, you may even resonate with the fact that you could pretty much pick up on who someone was almost immediately. And I would be willing to bet that you have rarely been wrong about who someone is as well. And again, it's just that direct connection, it's that intuition. You can probably, again, intuit things for others. That goes back to, you know, the advice thing that I mentioned, and just all of these different things that go back to your third eye and just that direct connection to source energy. Another very telltale and very obvious sign is that you were born into, and even as an adult, likely still are in a very chaotic family dynamic. It's probably likely that it's very unhealthy, has probably been a constant struggle and battle for you. And you may not know why, but the reason is because you hold a blueprint that is able to take generations of distorted energy and transmute it back into source energy. Now, I know this isn't fun at times, but this is also why you are given this gift of being able to operate a bit more easily and a bit more innately from the law of detachment. And it gets easier as you get older, and it certainly gets easier the more that you understand yourself and who you are on a spiritual level and why you are different. You know, it's the truth is that it's something that you agreed to before you came down, and you are going to help transmute this distorted energy back into source energy, back into pure love. You've probably heard the terms generational curse breaker and things like that. If you resonate with that, that absolutely goes along with what I'm saying. And the final sign that I want to mention is that transformation is a second language for you. Death and rebirth is a second language for you. You have probably had multiple awakenings. You have probably been through several dark nights of the soul, even before you really knew that that's what was going on, have been called into isolation at many different points in your life. And again, even before you really knew that that's what was going on. And so that whole death and rebirth thing, dark nights of the soul transformation, that has probably been going on your whole life and is now really a second language for you. And so that's a really, really big one as well. And so these are pretty much all of the signs I have for you. If you would like me to make a part 2, there are some more obvious ones, but I felt like these were really the most important ones. I also would really encourage you to script about this and journal about this. If y'all have watched me before, you know that I talk about that a lot, and I just think it's so important. And especially if you feel called to, even after this video, or even if you want to drop in the comments for me some signs that you feel like I missed, or even just ones that really resonate with you and helped you to wake up to your own blueprint. I would love to hear from you. So if this resonated, please do let me know. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I love each and every one of you so much. I'm so grateful for y'all, and I will see you in the next one.